According to my next guest, there are only 10 paths to growth for your company. And so your job is to choose the path that's right for your business and then execute a strategy around it. It sounds easy. Of course it's not. But Tiffani Bova's new book helps explain how to implement this. It's called Growth IQ. Get smarter about the choices that will make or break your business. Tiffani's a global customer growth and innovation evangelist at Salesforce. It's so good to see you.
Thank you, JJ, for having me.
So tell me in what ways people aren't smart. Is it that they get overwhelmed or they're choosing the low-hanging fruit? Where do people go wrong?
I think right now the competition has gotten so heated and growth is just top of mind for everybody.
Yeah.
But they get a little overwhelmed, as you said, on what's the right way to go and do it. And I think they get too confused around it doesn't have to be right. You have to try something. And so making sure that you make the right decisions, you have really amazing consequences, either good or bad.
Right.
Right, if you make the wrong one. But I think many people are afraid of making the wrong one, so they don't do anything.
So how do you have these 10 paths for growth? Just give me an example of one of them.
So let me use partnerships as an example. You know, many small businesses think that they need to, once they do one partnership arrangement, that's going to be their answer to growth.
Right.
Like, I'm now on this big e-commerce site, or I'm now online, or I've now opened my storefront. And it isn't just one thing. It has to really think about how do I package that together so my customers get an opportunity to buy from me in multiple ways. And partnerships are a great way to do that, where small businesses don't actually have to build the infrastructure to do that. And, you know, I'd like to start by saying that businesses have to understand who their customer is. What's the context of the market they're competing in? Once they identify that, then they say, what's the right way for me to grow? What do I have to combine together to do it? Partnerships is one of them.
Right.
And then am I doing it in the right order, in the right sequence, at the right time?
So how do you know? How do you know if you are?
Yeah, well, I always say you got to try something,
Yep.
right? And I first start by saying they're doing something today. Everyone's doing something as it relates to growth. So taking a moment to step back and go, what is it that I'm doing? Does it match my customer that I have today? Does it match the current environment from a context perspective? Am I making sure that I'm delivering what they're looking for, not just what I used to do or what I think I want to do?
And you talk about combining, choosing your path, which, what was it, context and...
Combination, and then sequence, in what order you do them.
I see. And are people doing them in the wrong order, you think, very often?
So sometimes I'll give you, let's use partnerships as an example. Let's say you want to expand into a new market. And so you launch the product, but then there's no one there to sell it or deliver it or provide service. So what you should have done was put the partnerships in place ahead of time to make sure if you're going to sell into that market, there's someone there who can actually support the customer, whether it's you or someone else. But sometimes people get so excited about launching a new product or getting into a new market or doing something different that they don't think about what do I have to put around it to make sure that I don't deliver the wrong experience to my customers
So we're
along
not
the way.
thinking of things holistically. In the race to growth, often people are just grabbing at whatever's coming their way without thinking about the whole thing.
Yeah, and I'd say this. I'd say right now, everyone needs to just step back and reframe how they think about growth.
Yep.
That what got us here may not get us there. And I know that's a cliche statement. But right now, with the change in the way customers want to buy, who you're competing against is very different than the way it used to be. The available channels for you to sell through and market through are exploding. And so you just have to say, am I looking at it the right way? So it's really about thinking differently about growth versus doing things differently. I think those are two very different things.
Well, one thing I learned also with my own company is you better be prepared to support it internally also, right?
Yes, and I'd say culture is a huge part of this. If you don't have the employees that are behind the decisions that you're making, it's never going to work out well for you.
And that you talk about the mental ability
the
to grow,
mental model is really important. And I really have this belief, this philosophy that your customers will be as happy as your employees are.
All right. Well, congratulations on the book.
Thank you so much.
For stopping
Thanks for
by.
having me,
Good to see
JJ.
you.
Yes.